Hey everybody, here's something that we've been working on for a little bit. Putting a fire, indoor tent fire, in a different tent. So I'm going to run you through how we do that because there's a whole bunch of safety things that you're going to want to understand, and it won't be for everybody, but I guess we're showing you here how we've put this through a tent that it wasn't, I guess, designed for intentionally. So what we're using is the Winnerwell indoor tent stove. It allows you to cook on it and heat, so it's going to be a great product over winter, and something that I guess some people might want to consider if you're capable and trustworthy to have a fire inside a tent in a small enclosed space. So it's a pretty cool way to camp, but as I say, there's definitely a few things that you need to understand. You know, we probably just can't caution that enough. But today I'm going to run you through some of the components that Nomadic New Zealand have sent out to allow us to be able to put this through a non-nomadic tent, really. Which is awesome of them. So big ups to Nomadic New Zealand. Great service, great speed of getting this out as well. We talked about doing this yesterday, and here we are, it's already in the tent. So first you're going to need a stove, a wood stove. The advantage of this, obviously we've been using this for a wee while, so it looks used because it is used. The advantage of this, you've got an air draft vent here to allow air to suck in this way. It goes through the stove and then it goes up and out the chimney, and that creates a draft effect which allows you to burn efficiently and hot. Here you've got a flue dampener which just allows you to control what's going on in the fire. You're going to want to turn that down. I'm always sort of working that, understanding what's happening inside the fire. Because you just don't want to overheat it. It's surprising how hot this actually gets, how warm the tent space ends up, and you definitely need to be aware that if the flue, this part here, gets too hot, eventually it travels up here to where you don't want the heat. You don't want it passing through that material being super hot. So you can control a lot of that with this. You can really slow the fire down, conserve your wood, reduce down the heat output with both this and this. So that's fully open, that would be fully closed. You just about put the fire out if we had it like that. When it's like that, it does start to emit smoke because it can't get out the chimney, so you just need to be aware of how to use all of those two sort of levers there. Lighting the fire is exactly the same, really easy in there. Open this vent, creates a beautiful draft effect, suction effect, and that fire should just take off, no problem. Use dry wood, good quality dry wood, will allow you to get that going. Maybe a couple of fire lighters if you're wanting to really get into it. On the floor, we've got a fire resistant mat that Winnerwell can provide you. I've put this just today on a base, but we'll blanket this out even with a bigger fireproof mat, just even to a wider area, really, because this is just a polyester plastic, which I'd love to just melt and catch on fire if something hits it that's hot. So we'll expand this. Extra protection I don't think is ever a bad thing, so we'll expand this even further. I've got it on a hard base just to catch that, just a little bit of ember that may ever fall out, but got a fairly deep fire area, inside stove area there. Good grate here, good airflow underneath. So the stove itself, that's probably enough on that, really good. So talking about some of these components. So here, the first component that's needed is a triple wall heat deflector. So the flue itself, this part here, goes up and it starts to dissipate. There's 3 different layers making this up, so it really just starts to dissipate that heat. So hopefully when it gets to here, this isn't piping hot. All of the heat starts to generate down here, so this can at times actually be red hot, glowing. So you really want to be minimizing your fire, turning it down and controlling your fire if that's occurring. We don't want that to be red hot. As it starts traveling up, the heat will start to dissipate. This would be all too hot to touch, but hopefully by the time it gets up here, it's definitely some of that heat has evaporated, has disappeared, and then it just dissipates even further where it passes through the tent wall itself. What we've also put on here is a silicone stove jack, and now this just allows it to pass through the tent wall, which is material, in this case polyester, which is not fire rated, fireproof or anything like that. It's just your normal tent material. This just allows it to go through. So by using this triple wall heat deflector, passing through a silicone stove jack, really gives you the best chance of it not affecting the side of your tent. What we've also done just in this setup is we've kept a huge area from here to the wall. Probably can't see my hand. So from the back of the stove or the side of the stove through to the wall, there's a huge gap there. I mean, we've positioned it really in the middle of the tent to give it maximum safety. So none of that heat build up should be affecting the walls of the tent at any point. All of the heat rises, so I'm not too worried about the floor. We've got that on something solid. All the heat rises. We've got all this area to heat, which is great. It's really the main concern is it passing through here. So I'll just show you on the outside of what that looks like. There we go. So we can see that silicone collar just going around that triple wall. So the silicone stove jack goes around the triple wall heat deflector, and then there goes the rest of the flue out the top. Right at the top there is a spark arrestor, which is really important, and we've really just pushed that right up nice and high away, so should any sparks happen to come out, it's well away from sort of the top of the tent or where it might cause an issue. So pretty happy with that. You can get those extra extensions, so if need be, to make it fit. I'll just show you those components so you know what they look like. So here we've got the Winnerwell triple wall heat protector for the chimney going up through here. You've got a few more stove pipes, so if you need to be adding those to make your stove longer. Here we've got your Winnerwell fireproof mat, which is really crucial. You don't want any sparks to burn through the bottom of your tent. Then here we've got a Winnerwell pipe brush. That is really important for cleaning the inside of the pipes. That's often where some dangerous things can happen. So you can get an effect which is almost like a crystal that builds up inside the pipe as you're burning, especially if you're not burning good quality clean wood. If your wood is wet or just not good quality, then you can get that build up happening pretty quick. And you can see that when you pull the pipes apart, there'll be this sort of black sooty crystal looking gunk in there. Now under intense heat, that can actually ignite and catch on fire itself, causing a chimney fire, which is something you definitely don't want. So maintaining and cleaning your stove is super key. So every morning after when I wake up, I will empty the ash, pull anything out of the stove itself. I will brush out the chimney, and I know it sounds like who would do that, but trust me, inside a tent I do not want to have a fire. So it doesn't take long, it's really simple to do. You do it and then your fire actually burns at a really good rate. You've got all that tube for it to create the airflow, and you'll have a much more efficient and better fire really. So hopefully that helps you understand how how you might be able to have a stove inside your tent. It does result in you having to cut a hole in your tent, which is can be a little bit scary. What needs to happen here, this piece here, you need to be, there's instructions there which I definitely invite you to make sure you follow. There's a certain position that this section here needs to go through the wall. So we've followed that exactly. I won't even talk about that. You need to read those instructions to get it right. So that just means positioning your tent with these sections is really key. Don't just hack a hole where you want it and then hope it all fits, because you have no adjustment in here. You need to position it so it does fit correctly for this piece here to be going through. That's really key. Cutting the hole, no big drama, it's just a bit of confidence. You cut that hole, it will definitely go through. Your tent will cut. My advice is to put this aluminium piece in position where you want to cut it with a marker pen. Draw out where you're cutting it, which is, for me, I cut it on the inside of the section. I took it all apart, cut the section out of tent, and then I actually pulled the tent down and I screwed it all together with the tent down flat on the ground. It was much easier. It wasn't under tension when I was doing that, so it's definitely a much easier way to do it. So that's my little top tip for cutting a hole inside your tent, which who's going to be crazy enough to do that? Let's find out. But once again, Winnerwell from Nomadic New Zealand. Here we go. That's what you want to be searching. Fantastic brand. It's the brand I trust. You know, we're going to be in here with a fire. We'll keep everything nice and controlled. That will be my key here. This isn't an invitation for people to be trying to have a sauna in their tent. It's just simply another way to warm up the tent. It's a cool way to camp, but you just want to be on top of it. You know, it's not going to sleep inside a tent with a fire going. It is just enjoying the heat that you get from it, perhaps with you and your family and friends, and yeah, not going too crazy, you know, be responsible with it. Fire can be pretty dangerous, so look after yourself. But that's it, guys. We've got lots more videos, photos to come on this. We'll get it burning and show you how all that happens. We'll give you some feedback on how we're finding it inside a tent that perhaps isn't canvas. Yeah, show you something else. Look at all these blimmin' sandflies up here. Crazy. Just as well they don't eat me, but there'll be some other campers' worst nightmare. I'm sure they're everywhere. Look at that. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.